We are discussing Donkey Kong, the hopes and dreams, okay? And did you guys know this November 21st will be 30 years since Donkey Kong Country came out?
Damn.
So I gotta hope and dream that we're gonna get Donkey Kong Country, right?
Yeah.
30th. I mean, it's 30th anniversary, maybe. But then I'm a little hesitant to think that that could happen because what the hell's going on at Retro Studios?
Metroid Prime 4, apparently.
Right.
Allegedly.
We know everything that's been going on there. So we have to question, do they have resources that are working possibly on a Donkey Kong game that are not working on Metroid? Because I feel like Metroid obviously is taking precedence at this point, considering everything that happened, the delays. You'd think all resources would be pulled to work on an aspect of Metroid. So then it's like, all right, well, if Retro's not doing it, are they going to have somebody else possibly?
Honestly, I think that, this is sitting in the back of my mind ever since Super Mario Odyssey got revealed. I think Nintendo, like EAD, can make a really good Donkey Kong game. And I'm like, why not just make a Donkey Kong game-esque in the style or possibly connected to that of Odyssey, right? I think a game like that could work incredibly well. And that's why, when I first saw that Super Mario Odyssey trailer in New Donk City, I saw all the Donk stuff in the background. I'm like, is this a new Donkey Kong game? And then Mario comes out of the manhole. I'm like, oh, it's a Mario game. Oh, it's a Mario game. Okay, cool. Right? But I think, if Retro Studios is not doing anything, because, I love Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. That's actually one of my favorite games. But I would like to see Nintendo internally try their own hand at a 3D Donkey Kong game that's not it's not quite Country, it's not quite DK64, but I feel they could definitely do something that would be really, really cool. Bring back the other Donkey Kong, all the other Kongs, Diddy, Cranky,
I love that.
Lanky, all that stuff.
I like
Chunky. Chunky's alive.
There's Chunky. He's good.
Chunky's not dead.
I'm ready to see a 3D, a full 3D Donkey Kong.
Oh, absolutely.
Did you guys know that the Mario team made Jungle Beat?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, after Jungle Beat, they made Mario Galaxy.
Well, didn't they? Jungle Beat is rad too. That's a really cool game. Jungle Beat is
it's the only side-scrolling Donkey Kong game that's not a country.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but it has behind the shoulder boss fights, and you can play with the bongos. Yeah.
I was like, is that the bongos one?
So there's 3 different Donkey Kong games on GameCube. There's Donkey Konga 1 and 2, which are basically just rhythm games, right? That are based off Donkey Kong. And then there's Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, which is literally a side-scrolling Donkey Kong game with 3D boss fights.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
There was a Donkey Konga 3.
Did it come out only in Japan?
No, yep. Okay. It was only in Japan.
Yeah.
I had to make sure about that. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm pretty sure there's a Konga 3. And I'm like, yeah.
Wow.
That game was fun. Actually. I enjoyed it.
I mentioned it in the not this podcast, at the back of the Prime podcast, about what I want to see for Donkey Kong, and I said I want to see an open jungle. That's it, an open jungle, not open world, open jungle. There's so many really cool, just swinging from vine to vine, doing
like a Spider-Man type thing.
Yeah, kind of.
That would be so cool.
You have
Mike.
You can
I was gonna say, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, finish that.
Yeah, just basically kind of Spider-Man mechanics and just sliding on the trees and whatever.
Tarzan
completing things around the entire kind of section, and then
we know about the canceled game, right? You guys all heard about that already?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So that's really what spurred the topic was Vicarious Visions. Yeah. Did you know gaming? We talked about this a long time ago on the old
more than a year ago.
And funny thing is, I was referenced in the damn Did You Know Gaming video. Didn't see that coming.
Actually, some of us were clipped in the video.
Yeah,
they took a clip of the cast and
took a clip of the podcast and put it in there. But so that was kind of neat because I've been a fan of Did You Know Gaming for a long time. But they did their own research and ended up talking to several, like a dozen plus developers who used to work at Vicarious Visions that did confirm this project existed It was in the work for about 6 months, and it was pitched to Nintendo. So it very much was a thing. It wasn't called Donkey Kong Freedom. Freedom ended up being the code name. So that's where the confusion with the naming of it came from, but that's not really too big of a surprise. But it was a 3D Donkey Kong game, and it was on an island, and it did involve swinging and sliding on vines and all this stuff, or tree trunks, or whatever you actually were sliding on. So it's kind of cool to find out that this long-standing rumored thing was actually being made by Vicarious Visions at one point. But obviously it ended up, not going forward. It seems like not every person knows the exact details. Like, was Miyamoto happy with it or not? There's a lot of conflicting details with that. But it is one of those things where the other parts of the rumor that no one knows, because that would be inside Nintendo, would be, did Nintendo decide off of that to then make a new Donkey Kong game internally? Because there's been this rumored Donkey Kong game aside from this for years. There's been a rumored Donkey Kong game that supposedly was made by some sort of offshoot of the Mario Odyssey team. And that's just an old rumor from like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
And it just kind of went away because there was never like any rumor on when it was going to come out, just that it was happening. Nate the Hate was one of the people on it and others, and nobody's really like said it's not happening still. Just did it get moved to Switch 2? Is it coming this year?
All I'll just say is that
it's done and they're sitting on it. I bet
that could be too.
Let's remind ourselves how long we waited. We waited for Bayonetta 3 when that was announced back in 2017. Let's also remind ourselves that we're still waiting for Metroid Prime 4. So the Donkey Kong game wasn't even announced, right? It was just rumored. So if it's in that kind of conversation of like Bayonetta Metroid, I don't think it's that crazy to think that they're just still working on it. But obviously, you wait 5 years, eventually Nintendo is going to probably go back to Donkey Kong, right? So it's kind of, you could maybe make the argument the rumor almost doesn't even matter because at some point they're going to revisit it.
Yep.
But it is interesting kind of thinking about the canceled project because as Mike was bringing up, like playing in a Donkey Kong game where you swing through the vines like Spider-Man, but from the rumor from the canceled project, right? Vicarious Visions had experience with Tony Hawk Pro Skater. And so their big like gimmick was to like build up momentum, get higher and higher, and then start sliding around tree branches, like grinding on rails, like in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. So imagine like Spider-Man swinging mechanics and Tony Hawk grinding mechanics in Donkey Kong in a dense, beautiful jungle. Like that.
I want to echo that because Mike, I love your idea about the open jungle and swinging, and Andreas, like those points about what that team's known for.
Farming, like we need like don't forget farming for the cozy people.
Farming too, but another thing I would love to see, because I would really love the return to the more kind of open world platforming Donkey Kong game. And Nintendo's taken a lot of liberties with innovating their IP. We talk about this all the time, how they've innovated with Zelda and Mario in recent years and Fire Emblem. I want to see them take Donkey Kong to the next level. The side scrollers are phenomenal. Love Tropical Freeze, love Country Returns, all those games. But I would love to see the things you guys are talking about, but also larger than life bosses and maybe some Shadow of the Colossus style, climbing up these huge bosses, banging them on the heads, and just really cool, larger than life, swinging up, grinding the ramps, landing on the big boss, climbing up. Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like it would be something cartoonish, like what is it, Forgotten Land, like Kirby. I don't think it would be like easy like that, but I think I could see them leaning into that art style, if you will.
I have one that's kind of way out there. What if Nintendo, I don't know how much they've actually dabbled in this type of game, but what if they made it like a roguelike? Where they brought in like all the different, Kongs into a roguelike.
No. Why do I like the idea of like every Nintendo IP as a roguelike? It all just sounds good to me.
There's that.
Because roguelikes are just fun.
Yeah, it just sounds like a great idea. I like it.
Didn't they do that with Splatoon? There's the DLC, right? It's like a roguelike.
Yeah. The DLC.
I have a feeling like if this Donkey Kong game that was rumored exists and comes out, like it's probably going to be. I think it's probably going to be in a side scroller. Just because it seems like the safer play, and if it's made by the team that if it's not, even if it's made by Retro Studios, okay, well they can have multiple projects. This would obviously not need as big of a team as like a Metroid Prime 4 would, so that's possible there. Or even if it's made by another team at Nintendo that makes another franchise, well they probably have to get back to that franchise. So I just sit back and go, that's probably what we should expect. But I want it to be a 3D Donkey Kong game. That's why the Vicarious Visions stuff really irks some people because we just want another 3D Donkey Kong game.
That game would have sold.
Maybe they go back
and
to
we
the
know, and we now know that there was a chance that it could have
Activision
happened.
is so dumb. I mean, think
Maybe
about it.
they
Think
go-
about it. Had they had a 3D Donkey Kong game with a new concept like that was done well, right? Vicarious Vision has a good track record of quality, and Nintendo was actually excited about it from all accounts, right? We don't know how excited, but at least a little excited, right?
They didn't hate it.
Had the game come out within the first couple years of Switch, this game would have sold like, I don't know, I feel like at least 5 million. That's probably like lowballing it. Like this would have been a big deal game.
I think it could have. It might have. I would say even now, like today, if they had a 3D one come out, I would start to go like, hey, I mean, I'm expecting Kirby Forgotten Land numbers if it's on Switch.
I was saying
At
that
least.
game is selling really good.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost at 8 million
for
right
Kirby.
now.
Yeah.
Kirby leveled up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally the best selling Kirby game, and the best selling one before it was the first one. Still,
I
pretty good.
think
It's a pretty
Donkey
good
Kong
game,
might
so.
have more potential than Kirby.
I think it
I
does
think-
too.
I think there's a
because-
hunger. There's a
I understand
hunger
your
for
point
Donkey
though.
Kong.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
if Forgotten Land hit 8 million, why couldn't a 3D Donkey Kong?
I'll also say this.
Yeah, they just need a new.
I think there's reason to
believe.
believe, and I know we'll get to the Nintendo Direct stuff later, but that Donkey Kong could be one of the games in the second half. One, because I think there might be a couple new games, and this wouldn't be considered like a top tier, you know, upper echelon game that they put a huge amount of money into, in my opinion. But it will be a high quality product and one that could actually sell decent in tandem with the theme parks.
You just stole
I
my.
was gonna say-
That coming out.
You just stole my line. I was about to say that.
Well,
Theme
that's
parks.
literally what I was trying to build to was the theme
Yeah,
park.
The
thing,
movie,
Here, later this
possible
year.
movie
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
and then Mario vs. Donkey Kong. Hey, remember Donkey Kong?
Yeah,
They literally put that game out.
they
Yeah.
already put the seeds for Mario vs. Donkey Kong in the Mario movie. They're still not friends. They're still kind of clashing on each other a little bit. Yeah, what they were saying, Super Nintendo World is opening in Japan later this year. 2025 is opening in Hollywood and here in Orlando. So 2025 is a perfect year for
Yeah,
it.
the Donkey Kong ride, except in Orlando, it's the whole park because it's not open yet.
Yeah.
What if we got an Avengers style Donkey Kong versus Mario movie? That'd be crazy. Sorry, I heard him
Smash
say
Bros.
that.
A man
Yeah.
can dream.
Andres,
Go
I'm
ahead,
taking you in
Andres. Yeah.
from the
Okay,
top
so-
rope.
All right, so this question is actually for Mike. How were you able to get Mario to visit your studio? I see him.
He's chilling.
He
Yeah.
looks quite.
He's just sitting down there, just enjoying
That's
the
a nice chair you got there.
And technically, there's a Mario in my studio. Charmander killed him though, so he's laying dead behind him.
Whoa.
If you move that little glowing ball back there, there is a rip Mario
What going ball?
in my background, not yours.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
also dating Samus. She's a control freak. She won't let me move.
So
If I
that
think
chair,
she scares,
you know
she'll blast me.
that chair cost me $10.
Oh,
Really?
I know.
That's a nice
Oh.
chair.
From where?
I went on Facebook Marketplace and I.
Yeah, okay.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
It was when I went to find it, it was like this big mansion. This person had we just put it in a guest room. Nobody ever used it, but we just want to get rid of it. Like, oh, okay, I'll take it. Take it from you.
$10.
$10.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to add some DK love in here? Some expectations?
I could give you another dream I have.
We all have dreams.
It's a simple dream. I want Nintendo, to, if we're only going to get mostly remasters this year, right? I would like a Donkey Kong remaster collection from the GameCube era. Give us the Conga games and Jungle Beat
That'd
HD
be cool.
upscaled all in one
True.
package.
That'd
I'd
be
be
cool.
in love with that. And give us the option to buy the bongos.
Mm,
Oh,
okay,
redistribute the bongos.
Yeah.
There we
And you
go.
can
There
hook
we
the bongos
go.
up to
How
each
else
side
is
of the
Nintendo
That
gonna
gets
bring
kind of
that-
hard.
If Nintendo wants to hit those net sales, that high number, they got those bongos. I'm sure it'll make a big difference. That's me being
Yeah.
casting, but